The Cincinnati Bengals have signed a key piece of their future to a key extension. Jacob Tissett and Craig Sandlin here for a key episode of Chatterbox Reacts. Welcome in, everybody. For those of you that missed the news earlier today, the Cincinnati Bengals announced they have signed kicker Evan McPherson to a 3-year extension. Jacob, how we feeling today?
I feel great about it. Early in the summer, early in the offseason, I said that I thought Evan McPherson would be the first extension for the Bengals this offseason, and that ends up being true. So I'm happy to be right and happy to have Evan McPherson in Cincinnati for at least a few more years. He's been so good here for the Bengals. That's absolutely the reason why you draft a special teamer, why you draft a kicker in the 5th round like the Bengals did with McPherson, is so he can come in right away as a rookie and impact the team. And that's exactly what he did, and he deserved an extension, and I'm glad the Bengals gave it to him. It gives me even more faith that they're going to keep giving extensions to the guys that continue to deserve them.
Absolutely. And that's a key piece we'll talk about in just a minute. McPherson's new deal, 3 years, $16.5 million. It pays him $10 million in new money in year 1, which is the richest ever in a 3-year deal for a kicker. Pretty big sign of how the Bengals feel about Evan McPherson. Jacob, McPherson obviously been extremely consistent and brought a piece to the Bengals that, you know, had kind of been missing, even dating back to the days of like Mike Nugent and stuff. Last season, combined between field goals and extra points, he's 59 for 59. In the postseason, he's 19 for 19. We've seen other teams since Evan McPherson's draft try to make the similar move where you draft a kicker early and then it hasn't necessarily panned out for them. Cleveland Browns. But the Cincinnati Bengals get success with Evan McPherson. Talk about just the consistency that he's brought and the value of having a kicker who you can rely on to make your kicks day in and day out.
Yeah, I mean, this side of Justin Tucker, there's not many kickers that are more reliable than Evan McPherson. I mean, you know what you're getting from him week in and week out, and that's all you can ask for from the kicker position. You don't want to be holding your breath like Bengals fans were for so many years with the different kickers who were rocking out there. I mean, Randy Bullock and a fake calf injury. That was some dark times for us, but now we finally have a guy that whenever he walks out there, no matter, you know, what the conditions are, what the pressure is, playoffs, or the, you know, first week of the regular season, you have, you know, the utmost faith that he's going to knock it through those uprights. And that's the absolute peak of a kicker for your team, especially a team that wants to compete for a Super Bowl right now. You need a guy that you can walk out there and can just bang him through the uprights. I mean, how many teams over the last, 5-10 years have been great teams, Super Bowl contending teams, and then they have a special teams, snafu that keeps them out of the playoffs or they lose in the first round or early. I just remember the old Chargers team that was the first overall offense and the first overall defense, and they didn't even make the playoffs because they were the 32nd overall special teams. Special teams is absolutely important. I mean, I know everyone is focused on extending, Burrow and Chase and a lot of the core guys, which is important. I'm not diminishing that by any means, but this is just as important as an extension because of how consistent he's been in his career.
Absolutely. And, Darren Simmons, I am on the record of being one that I feel like he's been able to fly under the radar a little bit with some of the struggles that the Bengals had for a while. He's been with the Bengals now for 22 years, but having someone like Evan McPherson leading a special teams unit certainly bring a lot of value to this team. Now, if they can just figure out the punter position, we'll feel a lot better about the unit as a whole. But with the new kickoff rules this year, McPherson's ability to be to place those kickoffs will matter a lot. And obviously, we've seen over the last couple of years the value that he can bring, especially in the playoffs in close games, kicking those extra points and those field goals in those key moments. And you mentioned it at the top. The Bengals now, they've signed Joe Burrow to a long-term extension. They now sign Evan McPherson to an extension. There's conversations obviously ongoing about what does the future look for other key players on this team, specifically Jamar Chase, who we have not seen suit up yet this offseason. What does this tell you about what the Bengals may be looking for with Jamar Chase and moving forward with other key components to the team?
I have not gotten worried about the Jamar Chase situation. I know a lot of other fans might be, but this just enforces what I've thought the whole time. And it's the Bengals take care of their star players, and they have for quite some time now. And I think they're going to do the same thing with Jamar. The first time that I really got worked up, and I think a lot of people did, is when he missed that practice, he wasn't on the field in Cincinnati. And then he travels with the team to Chicago and he's still there on the sideline. I really think that's just, whether it's where guarantees go or an extra year on the end, like the Niners are dealing with Ayuk right now. I'm not sure what that negotiation process is, but as the Bengals get this one done pretty quietly, I assume they're working with Jamar in the back rooms and the offices and everything like that. We're a tight-lipped organization. That's how it's been for quite some time now. And I think the Jamar situation is just bleeding over into the season more than everyone would like, but they get their deal done with McPherson. I think Jamar's on his way as well.
Absolutely. We'll be on the lookout for that, and be sure that if news does break about a Jamar Chase extension, that we will be right back with another edition of Chatterbox Reacts. The Bengals kick off with the Chicago Bears in week 2 of the preseason on Saturday at 1 p.m. Be sure to tune in to that one on the Bengals preseason TV network. For Jacob Tissett, thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm Craig Sandlin. This has been Chatterbox Reacts.
Thanks, guys.